Hello everyone, and welcome to Bright English Point. Today we will learn about the bombing of Nagasaki, a key event in World War II. In this video we will explore what led to the attack, what happened on that fateful day, and how it changed history. As always, we'll use simple English so you can learn both history and language at the same time. Let's begin. To understand the bombing of Nagasaki, we need to look at the world during World War II. By 1945, the war had caused great suffering across many nations. Japan, one of the Axis powers, had been fighting fiercely, and the United States and its allies were determined to end the conflict as quickly as possible. After the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, the United States believed that a second bombing might finally force Japan to surrender. Nagasaki, a bustling industrial city with factories, shipyards, and a long history as a cultural hub, played a significant role in Japan's war effort. Although it was known for its rich heritage and vibrant community life, its industrial capabilities made it an important military target. Interestingly, the original target for the second atomic bomb was Kokura. However, heavy cloud cover and poor visibility over Kokura on August 9, 1945, forced military planners to change the target to Nagasaki. This sudden decision was made in the hope of ending the war quickly and saving lives by preventing a prolonged conflict. The events leading up to this choice were complex and driven by the desperate need for a decisive end to a war that had engulfed the entire world. World War II was a conflict that touched every corner of the globe. Battles raged across vast lands, and nations struggled for power, survival, and freedom. In Europe, armies clashed in endless battles, while in the Pacific, island campaigns tested the limits of endurance and technology. For Japan, the war was both an opportunity to expand its empire and a struggle to defend its homeland. This era saw rapid advances in science and military technology. One of the most significant breakthroughs was the development of atomic weapons. Scientists discovered that splitting atoms could release an enormous amount of energy, a discovery that would soon change warfare forever. In Japan, industrial centers like Nagasaki were not just centers of trade and culture, they were the backbone of the country's military production. Factories, shipyards, and workshops worked around the clock to build the tools needed for war. This heavy industrialization meant that Nagasaki was a critical asset to Japan's war machine. The city's economic strength and its strategic location made it an appealing target for American military planners, who believed that crippling such centers would hasten the end of the conflict. At the same time, Japan was a country steeped in tradition and history. Nagasaki had long been a gateway between Eastern and Western cultures, welcoming foreign traders and ideas while preserving its unique Japanese identity. This blend of modern industry and deep cultural roots made the decision to target Nagasaki all the more tragic. Ordinary citizens, families, shopkeepers, students lived their daily lives unaware that their beloved city was marked for destruction. The change in target from Kokura to Nagasaki was not just a military decision. It altered the lives of thousands of people who had built their lives around the city's rich traditions and thriving economy. During these final days of the war, every decision was weighed against the desperate need to end the conflict quickly. The bombing of Nagasaki was the result of years of technological innovation, strategic military planning, and a profound sense of urgency. This background helps us understand that the tragedy in Nagasaki was not an isolated incident. It was the culmination of global conflict, scientific breakthroughs, and decisions made under the most extreme conditions. Recognizing this complexity allows us to appreciate both the technological power and the human cost behind one of history's most pivotal moments. On the morning of August 9, 1945, an American bomber named Bockscar took off on a mission that would change history. On board was a powerful atomic bomb known as Fat Man. As the plane soared above Nagasaki, the tension among the crew was palpable. They had trained for this mission, fully aware that they were about to unleash a force of destruction unlike any the world had ever seen. Before the bomb was dropped, the crew experienced a mix of emotions: duty, apprehension, and the heavy weight of responsibility. They knew that this mission was not just another military operation but a turning point in the war. The weather on that fateful morning was uncertain, and every second counted. With no time to waste, the decision was made, and the aircraft flew over Nagasaki, its target clearly marked. At the precise moment planned by military strategists, the Fat Man bomb was released. In an instant, a brilliant flash lit up the sky, a flash so intense it appeared as if day had turned to night. The bomb detonated above the city at a carefully calculated altitude, designed to maximize its destructive force. Unlike conventional bombs, Fat Man used plutonium and a complex implosion design, ensuring a powerful chain reaction that released an enormous amount of energy. As the explosion occurred, a massive shockwave radiated outward, flattening buildings, shattering glass, and hurling debris in every direction. The blast created a huge fireball and a subsequent firestorm that rapidly engulfed the city. Witnesses later described the scene as surreal. One moment, Nagasaki was alive with daily activity. The next, it was a landscape of chaos and ruin. The intense heat and overwhelming force left little chance for escape, marking the beginning of an era of unimaginable destruction. In the moments following the explosion, the air was filled with a deafening roar and a cloud of dust, smoke, and debris that obscured the sun. The bomb's detonation was not only a display of raw power but also a demonstration of the new age of warfare, one where science and military might merge to alter the course of history forever. The immediate effects of the Nagasaki bombing were catastrophic. Thousands of people lost their lives instantly as the shockwave and searing heat struck the city. Homes, schools, factories, and hospitals were reduced to rubble in a matter of seconds. Survivors who were caught in open spaces or inside buildings experienced the full, terrifying force of the explosion, leaving behind scenes of devastation that are hard to imagine. Immediately after the explosion, a thick layer of dust and ash blanketed Nagasaki. The once busy streets became eerily silent, and familiar landmarks vanished under a haze of debris. People who managed to survive the initial blast found themselves in a world that was unrecognizable, a city transformed into a landscape of twisted metal and shattered concrete. The sudden silence was broken only by the distant, haunting sounds of collapsing structures and anguished cries for help. Rescue efforts began almost instantly. Ordinary citizens, along with emergency responders, rushed into the ruins to search for survivors. They worked tirelessly, often at great personal risk, trying to dig through the wreckage to save those trapped under the debris. Yet, the scale of destruction was so vast that even these heroic efforts could only do so much. The physical injuries were compounded by the onset of radiation sickness, which began affecting survivors within hours. Hospitals and makeshift clinics were soon overwhelmed by the sheer number of injured people. Doctors and nurses, working under desperate conditions with limited supplies, struggled to treat severe burns, broken bones, and radiation-induced illnesses. The scene was one of utter chaos. A once thriving city reduced to emergency shelters and medical tents, as everyone tried to cope with the immediate aftermath of the unthinkable event. For many survivors, the psychological shock was as devastating as the physical injuries. The collective memory of that day became a heavy burden, with many never forgetting the sight of their beloved city in ruins. The immediate impact of the bombing left a lasting scar on the community, marking the beginning of a long and painful recovery process. In the days and weeks following the bombing, Nagasaki, like Hiroshima, began a painful journey toward recovery. The devastation forced the Japanese government to reconsider its stance in the war. Just days after the Nagasaki bombing, Japan announced its surrender, bringing World War II closer to its end. The loss of life and widespread destruction shocked not only Japan but the entire world, prompting deep reflections on the use of nuclear weapons. The path to recovery was long and filled with immense hardships. In the immediate aftermath, survivors and local authorities had to face the enormous task of clearing rubble, rebuilding homes, and caring for the injured. Volunteers and emergency responders worked side by side, often in perilous conditions, to restore some sense of order and hope. Community members banded together, sharing food, shelter, and comfort as they navigated the devastation. Government officials, along with international aid organizations, soon mobilized to help rebuild the shattered city. Reconstruction efforts focused not only on restoring physical structures but also on healing the emotional wounds of the survivors. Over the years, Nagasaki was slowly rebuilt, and new buildings and infrastructure emerged from the ruins as symbols of resilience and determination. As the city recovered, Nagasaki began to transform into a powerful symbol of peace and hope. Memorials, peace parks, and museums were established to honor the victims and serve as reminders of the horrors of nuclear warfare. One of the most notable sites is the Nagasaki Peace Park, where monuments and a large peace bell call visitors to remember the past and work toward a future free from nuclear conflict. Schools and cultural centers were built to educate younger generations about the tragic events and to promote the importance of peace and reconciliation. Internationally, the bombing of Nagasaki sparked widespread debates about the ethics of nuclear weapons and the responsibilities of global leaders. The events in Nagasaki, together with those in Hiroshima, led to the rise of a powerful peace movement. Organizations and activists around the world began campaigning for nuclear disarmament, urging governments to work together to prevent future tragedies. This movement has helped shape international policies and continues to influence global discussions on peace and security. The legacy of Nagasaki is also deeply personal. Many survivors, known as hibakusha, have dedicated their lives to sharing their stories, hoping that their experiences will serve as a warning to future generations. Their testimonies, filled with both pain and hope, remind us of the high cost of war and the value of every human life. Annual remembrance ceremonies and educational programs are held in Nagasaki, ensuring that the lessons of the past are not forgotten and that the call for peace remains strong. Nagasaki's journey from a city of devastation to one of hope is a testament to the strength and resilience of its people. The rebuilding process not only restored buildings and streets but also healed hearts and communities. Today, Nagasaki stands as a living memorial, a constant reminder of the past and a beacon for a peaceful future. The legacy of this tragic event inspires ongoing dialogue about the dangers of nuclear conflict and the need for international cooperation in the quest for lasting peace. In conclusion, the bombing of Nagasaki is a story of deep tragedy and enduring hope. This event changed not only the city of Nagasaki but also the course of history. It shows us the extreme consequences of war and the lasting impact that a single decision can have on millions of lives. At Bright English Point, we believe that understanding history in simple English helps us learn important lessons about peace and humanity. Learn English with Stories is our way to bring history to life, using real events to remind us all that we must cherish and protect peace. By studying the tragedy of Nagasaki, we are encouraged to reflect on the choices of the past and to work together to build a safer future. The story of Nagasaki is not just about destruction, it is also about the incredible resilience of the human spirit. Survivors and communities rebuilt their lives, and the city transformed into a global symbol for peace. We hope that this video inspires you to think deeply about the impact of history on our lives today. We invite you to share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. Your engagement is important to us and helps spread the message of hope and learning. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends, and continue to learn and grow with Bright English Point. Together, we can remember the past and create a brighter future.